Hello and welcome. Today we will be reacting to probably the most famous speech by Eric Thomas, aka the hip hop preacher. I have mixed feelings on this. In general, I would categorize this speech in the category of hustle porn, in that the directive is largely just to work harder, which in my mind is kind of a vacuous sort of injunction. I don't consider it to be substantive. I've written a blog post on this in the past. This is like about a year old. But it is that, one of the criticisms I have is that after the fact, it's easy to just tell yourself that, I didn't work hard enough, because work hard is not specific. And almost every goal you should have is specific. You should know when you are doing and achieving what you want to be achieving. And what work harder fails to do is be specific. So, for example, if I say I want to read 30 minutes a day, I will know when I've achieved that. But if I say I want to work harder at reading, I have no idea when I've achieved that. And generally speaking, what, hustle porn advocates doing is just working as hard as possible. And they say if you work hard enough, you'll get what you want. And that if you don't get what you want, or the corollary implication is if you don't get what you want, it was because you didn't work hard enough. And I think that this is a good philosophy if you want to engage in self-flagellation. Because you can always, whenever you fail, look back and say, oh, I guess I just didn't try hard enough. But the fact is like sometimes you just get unlucky, and also life's not fair. It's not always the case that your efforts will be rewarded in proportion to your efforts. If you work really hard, but you work very unintelligently, and your strategy is poor, you'll fail no matter how hard you work. And so this is one of my criticisms of hustle porn, but I do have another rejoinder blog post somewhere else where I talk about, even though hustle porn is in some sense vacuous, the messaging is profound, and oftentimes what's most important is just getting started in any sort of endeavor and just getting the ball rolling. And if hustle porn lets you just get started, it is in fact tremendously useful, even though the substance and the directive to work harder is not substantive. And so let's get into this. This is one of my favorite motivational speeches, and it's been a real long time since I watched it. I think I watched it like a year ago, and I have mixed feelings on it, so I'll probably be pausing and critiquing a lot. Let's get into it.
Talking about you want to make six figures. You hear what I'm saying to you tonight? If you
generally speaking, a lot of these are more about making money than like some sort of subjective feeling for yourself as an individual, which is like, in my mind, a little bit missing the mark in terms of what you should maybe be focused on. But okay.
to do the three things I tell you to do tonight, I guarantee you, whatever it is you want to do in life, you'll be able to do. You will be able to accomplish whatever you want to academically, financially, relationally, whatever. So three things.
Fair enough. He says other things too.
All right, now I'm gonna tell you the story. I got to get out of here. And the story is about, you guys have probably heard about this before. It was a young man who, he wanted to make a lot of money, and so he went to this guru, right? And he told the guru, I want to be on the same level you on. And so the guru said, if you want to be on the same level I'm on, I'll meet you tomorrow at the beach at 4 a.m. He liked the beach. I said, I want to make money. I don't want to swim. Guru said, if you want to make money, I'll meet you tomorrow, 4 a.m. So the young man...
4 a.m. or just any time before the sun's up is a consistent feature in a lot of sort of hustle porn narratives, and it is one I find particularly pernicious because often they advocate foregoing sleep in order to try and work on your goals. And if you look into any of the research on sleep, sleep is just so essential that oftentimes you should actually be, if you really want to accomplish your goals, orienting your life around getting enough sleep and sacrificing other things so that you can sleep. But let's continue.
I got there at 4 a.m. He all ready to rock and roll, got on the suit. He should have wore shorts. The old man grabs his hand and said, how bad do you want to be successful? He said, real bad. He said, walk on out in the water. So he walks out into the water. Watch this. When he walks out into the water, it goes waist deep. So he like, this guy crazy. Adrian, he like, I want to make money. He got me out here swimming. I didn't ask to be a lifeguard. I want to make money. He got me in. So he said, come out a little.
I love his delivery, by the way.
Further, walked out a little further. Then he had it right around this area, the shoulder area. So this old man crazy. He making money, but he crazy. He said, come on out a little further. Came out a little further. It was right at his mouth. My man like, I'm about to go back in here. This guy is mine. So the old man said, I thought you said you wanted to be successful. He said, I do. He said, walk a little further. He came, dropped his head in, held him down, hold him down. My man getting scratching, holding him down. I got you. I know you brushed it out, but I got you. He had him held down. I need you for an illustration. He had him held down. Just before my man was about to pass out, he raised him up. He said, I got a question for you. Somebody answer the question for me. He said, when you were underwater, what did you want to do? Lee, I'm looking for a different word, though, than lip. What's that word? Said I wanted to breathe. He told the guy, he said, when you want to succeed as bad as you want to breathe, then you'll be successful.
So, I think that this is like a sort of powerful message in terms of, you know, trying to increase and ramp up your motivation and get yourself hyped to get going. And then getting started is often the most important feature of accomplishing any task. But at the same time, it's part of, you know, the hustle porn narrative. If you just want it bad enough, you will succeed. And that's just simply not the truth. If you just work hard enough, you'll succeed. And that's not the case. You know, sometimes you just get unlucky. Things don't go your way. And, you know, it's important not to, what that sort of thing will do is often in post hoc analysis, you'll just be like, if it's just a matter of working hard, in the post hoc analysis, when you fail, the only conclusion you can come to is I didn't work hard enough. And, you know, the model of what success looks like just has to be more nuanced than that. You know, it can't just be just only a function of work. Work's definitely a part of it, but it's not, it's such an incomplete and overly simplistic model. But, you know, this is the model.
I don't know how many of y'all got asthma in here today, but if you ever had an asthma attack before, you short of breath, SOB, shortness of breath, you wheezing.
There's, by the way, a really good remix of this on YouTube, or like there's several with just like the background music that's inspirational that I think is just a better watch in general, but I didn't want to get DMCA'd. If you wanted to watch this speech without my interjections, that would probably be a good look.
The only thing you trying to do is get some air. You don't care about no basketball game. You don't care what's on TV. You don't care about nobody calling you. You don't care about a party. The only thing you care about when you're trying to breathe is to get some fresh air. That's it. And when you get to the point where all you want to do is be successful as bad as you want to breathe, then you'll be successful.
Forget everything else. If you just want it just as bad as you want to breathe, you will be successful. You know, perhaps a more useful like continuation to this is if you want something badly enough, you'll figure out a way to get it. But figuring out a way to get it is different than wanting it, and it is the figuring out a way to get it that is going to be like what drives you towards more effective strategies. But some people just bash their head against the wall for their entire lives trying to accomplish something, and then they just fail. And so, but this is not the hustle porn narrative. It's if you want it badly enough, you succeed, and if you failed, it's because you didn't want it bad enough. And this is not, you know, Karl Popper like talks about this in terms of science, where every theory, in order for it to be a good theory, has to be falsifiable. You have to be able to prove it wrong. Well, you can always technically work a little bit harder. So the theory that you would have been successful if you just worked a little bit harder, it's not a falsifiable theory because you can always technically work a little harder, and you can't go back in time and see what would have happened if you would have worked harder because you don't have a time machine. So it's not a falsifiable thesis that if you just work harder, but it's also like empirically, like if you just put a ton of effort into strategies that don't work, you're going to have bad results. And so this is an oversimplification. Let's continue.
And I'm here to tell you, number one, that most of you say you want to be successful, but you don't want it bad. You just kind of want it.
And so this is the thing, is this is the way that self-help often, like, or the hustle porn types of narratives often turn on people is, you know, if they're not successful, you just say, oh, you just kind of wanted it. You didn't really want it.
You don't want it badder than you want to party. You don't want it as much as you want to be cool. Most of you don't want success as much as you want to sleep.
Again, here we go. He's advocating foregoing sleep in order to be successful. You know, just this self-flagellating type of, you know, work harder until, you know, you've wrung yourself out like a dry towel or something like this. And look, it's not that hard work is a bad thing, but it's just that this is it's a vacuous injunction. We'll just work harder. It's very unnuanced, but part of its appeal is it's really easy to present, and it's also really easy for it to be inspiring, because like I am inspired by this Eric Thomas video, even though I'm critiquing it, but I am also inspired under the knowledge that it's more complex than just work harder.
Some of you love sleep more than you love success. And I'm here to tell you today, if you're going to be successful, you've got to be willing to give up sleep.
Which, to be fair, I think
you
is
correct. You got to be willing to work off for 3 hours of sleep, 2 hours.
But I think you should also structure your life in such a way that giving up sleep is not something you normally have to do, because sleep is really effective strategy. There's I forget Matthew Walker's book on sleep. They say something like 40 or 60% of your ability to lay down new knowledge is contingent on ability to get a full sleep cycle or full REM sleep. And so if part of what you are trying to do requires you to learn something, then sleep has to be part of your strategy.
If you really want to be successful, some days you're going to have to stay up 3 days in a row.
You're going to be really ineffective as an individual with 3 days no sleep. So the strategy has to, you have to be, you probably need a better macro strategy if, from a tactical level, staying up for 3 days straight makes sense for whatever you're trying to accomplish.
Because if you go to sleep, you might miss the opportunity to be successful. That's how bad you got to want it. You got to go days without, listen to me, you got to want to be successful so bad that you forget to eat.
If you want to be successful and you want your body to fire on all cylinders, you actually need to structure your life in such a way that you do make sure you properly get nutrition.
Beyonce said once she was on the set doing her thing, 3 days had gone by, she forgot she didn't eat because she was engaged. I never forget when 50 Cent was doing his movie, I did a little research on 50, and 50 said that when he wasn't doing the movie, he was doing the soundtrack. And they said, when do you sleep, 50? Sleep, he says, sleep is for those people who are broke.
There we go. Sleep is for broke people. And so I get it. And it's painting a narrative that is inspiring. It makes you want to go out and do something to, as he puts it, engage. And so it's this, the task here when engaging with any of this hustle porn type of stuff is to bifurcate, what the content is from the messaging, because the messaging is generally inspiring and good, but the content, just grind. He's just advocating for just grind yourself into nothingness. And okay, sometimes you might have to forego sleep, but that should be the exception to the rule. Generally, you should be getting good sleep if you want to accomplish something specific.
I don't sleep. He said, I got an opportunity to make a dream become a reality. Football players, how many football players? Got anybody like football in here? Raise your hand. Anybody like football?
Yeah, recovery from lifting is ass.
I used to be a Cowboy fan before they did my boy Tom Landry wrong. I used to be a Cowboy fan. And watch this. There was a commercial. Emmitt Smith had won his first Super Bowl, and he had this commercial when he was lifting weights. I don't know if you saw the commercial when he was lifting, and Emmitt said, you know what? I won the Super Bowl, so I can rest now. He was doing his bench press. So he said, I won a Super Bowl, so I can rest now. So he throws up about 325, boom. And he rests for about 2 seconds. Then he, boom, boom, boom. Did you see that? He'd already won a Super Bowl. He said, I think I'm going to take a rest. And he rests for how long? 1 second. Most of you won't be successful because when you're studying and you get tired, you quit.
So the whole Emmitt Smith thing is kind of interesting because if you've ever engaged in quite a lot of lifting, recovery and rest is an important aspect of that. And so, but he's using it to illustrate a point, which is that most people, when something just gets uncomfortable, they just get out of it. And he is correct in that assessment. That is a reason to fail. Also, most people just never really get started. But
and I'm here to tell you today, if you somebody came to my office the other day crying. I said, look, don't cry to give up. Cry to keep going. Don't cry to quit. You already in pain. You already hurt. Get a reward from it. Don't go to sleep until you succeed. Listen to me. I'm here to tell you today that you can come here, you can jump up, you can do flips, you can be excited when we give away money. But listen to me, you'll never be successful until I don't have to give you a dime to do what you do.
He opened this whole speech with wanting to be a six-figure person, make six figures, and now he's talking about being so addicted to the process that you don't even need a dime. This is, yep.
You won't be successful until you say, I don't need that money, because I got it in here. So listen to me. Emmett Smith said this at the end of the commercial. Emmett Smith said, all men are created equal. Some work harder in preseason.
Oh, man. This is a quote that I referenced in my blog post. It's just not true, especially if you look at the NFL specifically, which is what he's talking about with Emmett Smith. Not all men are created equal. I will have an incredibly hard time being a 6'9", 300-pound lineman because I'm not 6'9". And there's nothing about, like, the dice that... There's nothing about working in preseason that will change the fact that I cannot be 6'9", you know? And some people are just, like, they were dealt better hands in life, and some people just have better opportunities because of who they know. And so it's just not the case that some people just work harder in preseason. Like, it's just, like, empirically, it's just not the case, which doesn't mean, you know, you sit around and you do nothing and you just wallow in the fact that you got unlucky, or however you got unlucky. If you have internet access, you're probably overall, in terms of relative to the human race, you're relatively lucky. But it's this, some people just work harder in preseason. Like, it's a flashy quote, it's pizzazz, and this is what's, like, hustle porn is, but it's not substance.
I'm gonna say it again because you might have missed it. All men are created equal. Some work harder in preseason. So that means that there are some people who are going to see the professor, going to see the TA, and even when the professor says, I don't meet with you, my TA meet with you, you say, I don't want to talk to your TA.
By the way, seeing your professors is an excellent strategy for doing well in college.
That's what it is. I don't pay the TA. I pay you to teach me. So you're going to have to find some time to meet me. If I got to meet you at the mall, if I got to meet you at your house, you are going...
I do like this as a strategy, you know, where you kind of just, like, plow and find a way to get or do what you need to do. And this is effective in terms of strategically speaking, but stuff like not sleeping, just work harder, these are not, like, effective or substantive, like, injunctions.
To see me. Listen to me. All men are created equal. Some work hard in preseason. When I went to college, guys were way smarter than me. 4.0s, 3.0s. They went to the Ivy League high schools,
That's the opposite
came to Oakwood from these great high schools. Most of them are not doing what I'm doing. Why? Because it's not about where you come from. It's about heart.
That's a different claim. To say that we're created unequal, but it's more about other stuff is a different claim than all people are created equal. But, like, there's nothing about... Like, I would have never played in the NFL as a lineman because I'm 5'10", no matter how hard I worked. And also, just some people just have other, like, biological limits, and so it's a kind of flippant remark to make in the context of the NFL. Now, if you want to talk about being a motivational speaker, probably anyone who wants it badly enough can do it. Jesus. No, I don't agree with what I just said. I think that it's perhaps less contingent on how lucky you are and what your position in life is. But, like, just being from a gregarious, like, household, like, is going to make a huge difference, you know? And having the opportunity to do a lot of public speaking as you're growing up is probably going to make a difference. There's probably a lot of other factors that make difference in much less obvious ways than, you know, being 6'9" and playing in the NFL.
Come to a place where, you know, being smart ain't enough. You got to have heart. That's number one. Watch number two. Number two, catch number two. I wrote it down. I wanted to make sure you got it. It says, watch this. We're talking about sacrifice now. The important thing is this. You're writing while I'm saying it, because I only have about 3 more minutes. Listen to me. The most important thing is this: to be able at any moment to sacrifice what you are for what you will become.
I think this is actually a pretty solid way of looking at things, that you have to be willing to give up, like, who you are to who you want to be. But this is... Okay.
That's the number 2 thing.
For the record, I like this speech overall. I'm just saying I like it for its presentation and its rhythm and its, you know, inspirational value more so than its, like, substance as a injunction or, like, strategy on how to do well.
You got to catch that one. To be able to, listen to me, at any moment, Some of you can make sacrifices when Monday Night Football is not on. You can make a sacrifice. But when the game come on, for some reason, you just attach to it. For some of you, when your favorite show come on, you can make sacrifices on Sunday when ain't nothing going on. But when your favorite show comes on Monday, bam, some of you focus until the phone ring, and then you like, I gotta answer it. If I don't answer the phone, I'm gonna die. I'm saying to you today that there are some of you, if you give up your cell phone, you would be successful. But your cell phone is more important to you than your success.
A lot of it, I think, is actually if you just use your phone more strategically. Like, your phone is actually an incredible tool in a lot of ways, right? It's about usage. But he's not being nuanced in that way, nor is he, like, saying, look, if your strategy with your phone was different. He's just like, give it up. And, it's this very, it's in line with, like, the hustle porn mentality where you just, like, it's like a self-flagellating mentality where it's like just work harder, sacrifice everything, and then you get to be successful. And it's and if you're not successful, it's because you didn't work hard enough or you didn't sacrifice enough.
I'm gonna say it again. I'm gonna hurt somebody. Some of you need to give up your cell phone because the time you spend on your cell phone could be used for your success. The time you could be using to be successful, you're using it on the cell. And the cell phone is not bringing you nothing but a bill. And somebody has told you you couldn't live without it. I'm talking about going deep now, giving up stuff. Watch what it says. To be able at any moment to sacrifice what we are for what we could be. I don't do well in math. You're right.
Again, I do think that the mentality of I'm willing to sacrifice who I was to who I'm going to become is like actually a good frame or way of looking at things, a good lens to look through. I'm critiquing just kind of the larger, broader hustle porn thing while actually enjoying his speech because, his rhythm is nice, his cadence, his vocal, like, expression, like, all this is, like, it's, like, nice and good for amping you up. It's just certainly better than the dry monotone I'm giving you.
You ain't never studied. I'm not good in writing because you have never written before. But I dare you to fail in writing for a whole year to see if you can get to the end.
Yep.
I dare you to fail. I dare you to take that same class over and over again. I dare you to stop dropping classes.
Being willing to fail is good advice.
Always want to give up. I'm dropping. Why are you dropping? I'm so grateful that the slaves didn't drop and quit. Say, I'm just going to stop. I'm a slave. I'm just going to be a slave. I'm going to quit. Listen to me. The slaves said, we will live because one day we will become.
I think that...
so if you want to make...
So that was it. But just on the failure thing, like, I think that, like, failure is a really important, like, thing to have a healthy attitude towards because... when you fail, you get reference experience, you get feedback, and this allows you to adjust your strategy so that you have a better strategy. The point of failure is to acquire a better strategy. And I think looking at this way is good. And so that last little bit at the end I thought was good. But as an overall type of thing, I was talking with a friend the other day about, like, David Goggins, who, like, inspiring, yes. Should you do what he does? Probably not. Where he just, like, runs himself to the bone in, like, these ultra marathons. But, like, he's successful, in his own lane. And so, here, let's get it.
6 figures, you can't just be talking about...
He's talking about 6 figures at the start. And then he's later talking about process. So I just wanted to, do a react to this. I haven't seen a tremendous amount of Eric Thomas's stuff. Overall, I have a relatively positive opinion of him, but it's like with the caveat that this is, it's hustle porn, where you are sacrificing, in order to make the speech sexy, right? You're sacrificing fidelity to, being more empirically grounded, and you're saying stuff like, you have to want it more than you want to sleep. And you should give up sleep for 3 days in a row, which is like, look, I'm not saying it's never the context where you should do that, but like, you should not be looking to give up sleep, right? That should not be the most important avenue to you. It should just, it's about wanting it so much, which I guess is like a way of conveying, it being about desire, but it's not very nuanced or like empirically grounded. Anyways, just thought I'd give my opinion on both this speech as well as hustle porn in general, because it has been something that's been a little bit on my mind recently, and I like read back through my blog and I was a little interested on it, and I do have a link to his video in my blog, or not his video, but someone else's mashup of his video. But don't eat, work instead. All men are created, but some work harder in preseason. Professional sports are the best example of not all men are created equal. And I'm just using men because that's the language he used before. Anyways, hope you enjoyed. Feel free to like, comment, subscribe. Do the YouTube algo stuff. It helps. If you have any requests for like things to react to or like opinions or anything like this, feel free to put it in the comments, and have a good day.